Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
The other host, you might say, of this here Popcast.
The other host. It
Yes,
seems, I don't know.
host.
I don't know.
Which, in case anyone's over on the Reddit, which is r/popcorn culture, and you see the other host, that's me.
Well,
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Hey, I
That's me
asked Alice.
on the Reddit.
I asked Alice
r/popcorn culture.
if she was able to make a fart noise with her tongue.
Yeah.
You want to know what? She can't do it either.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I think that...
I think Alice is too ladylike. She knows she can.
Oh no, she would do it. She would do, trust me. What I'm really trying to say is that I think our kids are destined to be hand farters exclusively.
Is that right?
That's it. Yes.
You think they'll be able to armpit fart?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I can make
I
fart
guess it's
noises.
still a hand fart.
I can make fart noises on like the inside of my elbow.
Yeah, me too.
You know, like
sure.
pretty much anywhere.
I mean, anywhere there's a flat space where you can make a seal with your palm, that's it.
That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Remember when we were kids? And in case anybody's wondering, after the final pop, which is what I'm calling it, it's a nod to After the Final Rose from The Bachelor.
Which is, no, not tonight. Tonight's the Women Tell All.
Right, exactly. We talked about how we make our fart noises. I'm a hand farter. Jay can make a fart noise with his tongue.
As can everyone.
No, I can't. Mine...
Yours isn't as good.
It just doesn't work.
as good.
It doesn't work. Anyway, so I asked Alice if she could do it, and she said and tried and failed. And so if we have kids some days, they're just going to have to do that. But no, I was going to ask you, do you remember when we were kids and we learned how to do farts on the backs of our legs? And we would lay on the ground, put both palms behind both of our legs, and just kick our legs in there.
And just bicycle?
Yeah, literally. It was just like rapid fire fart noises coming from the other room. Oh, man.
I think if you didn't do that, can you even really say you had a childhood?
That's a fair question.
You know,
very, very fair question.
Everyone knows. If you know, you know. But
I always imagine mom in the other room, like making tacos, being like, could have had girls. Could have had girls.
That's going to be Beth soon, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I've got 3 boys now.
I can't wait to teach all 3 of them how to make leg farts.
Like I won't already have, okay?
You know what? We'll see. We'll see.
Luke can do mouth farts.
Can he?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I got that one nice and early. He does think that toots are hilarious.
Does he?
This is one of those things. It's always interesting because like when children laugh at something that is completely unlearned. Yeah. It's just something is inherently funny, and toots are one of those things.
Okay, I was going to ask you because I think, like, you know how they say, like, everybody smiles in the same language?
Yeah.
Or maybe, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Regardless of what you speak, everybody smiles. It's like an instinctual reaction to something that makes them happy. Are farts funny always? Like, are they like, what would the word be?
This is like how you can't describe the color red.
Is that a thing?
Can you? How would you describe the color red?
Can you describe any colors?
No.
No. So it's not just, red's not special in this regard.
I think probably red, blue, and yellow in particular are like at the core of this. But like red, there are certain words, and I don't know, it's going to bother me. I'm sure people are going to know, but there are certain words that are like base descriptors where there's no way, like, how would you describe the color red to a blind person? You know, like
interesting.
Could you?
I think not.
I know,
I
right?
Think not, yeah, because anything you could ever do is just compare it to something that is red.
Right, but which they can't see.
Oh, what a weird phenomenon. It's like a base level descriptor.
Yes.
There is no descriptor beneath a color.
Right. There's other things like this, for sure. I don't know what they all are, but I remember someone posing that challenge to me one day, and it like blew my mind. It was like trying to imagine a new color, which is also a thing you shouldn't try too hard to do.
I know, it's making me like a little queasy, honestly. Like I'm upset at the fact that I don't have an answer to this.
I know, right?
It's bothering me.
Isn't it weird?
I've never thought about that before.
So anyway, in the same way that you can't describe the color red, farts are also funny to all people. Red is intrinsically red, toots are intrinsically funny.
Speaking of that, how about for a corny joke?
Oh yeah, let's not skip the corny joke.
Of course not. Hey, did you hear about the claustrophobic astronaut?
No, I did not hear about the claustrophobic astronaut.
He just needed a little space.
He got a lot.
Yeah, a whole bunch. Or none.
That is, if you have claustrophobia, what you're definitely going to want to do is become an astronaut. Because once you get over being in a missile with very little room to move at all, inside of a suit with less room to move, then you will have all the room in the world.
No, I still think that regardless of that, space would be one of the most claustrophobic places you could go because there is no, short of re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, which is something you can't do, on a whim, you're stuck. You are stickety stuck.
Well, I think what you would want to be is stickety stuck to something. It's being not stuck to something that's the problem.
Hold on.
Right?
Explain that
space,
to me.
Like, if you're untethered in space, then you are for sure stuck in space.
Oh yeah, so like the more exposed you are to never being able to return to a green grass fenced-in yard, which is what I imagine when I'm claustrophobic. But a fenced-in, why would I imagine a fenced-in yard when I'm claustrophobic?
Because claustrophobia is fear of small, tight spaces.
I know, but a fence is like an enclosure, and it's part of my way of dealing with feeling claustrophobic.
What? I don't understand.
You don't
Do you understand claustrophobia?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're being a yard, which is a pretty big area.
No, I'm not claustrophobic when I'm in a yard.
Right.
When I am claustrophobic, I imagine a yard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, does that make sense?
But so then why would being in space make you feel more claustrophobic?
Because you can't return to normal circumstances. You are further from your ability to get back to that green grass yard.
So you're like metaphorically claustrophobic, not like physically claustrophobic.
No, I think if I was in space, I would be physically claustrophobic.
But it's not a small area.
But the space in which you exist inside of like the space shuttle or the space station is a very small area.
Oh, well, I mean like inside, yeah, sure.
No, but see, so I have this exact same issue. So scuba dive, so I've grown up being basically obsessed with everything underwater. I mean, I think since I was a little kid, I've had aquariums in my room and literally started the business around it. Scuba diving freaks me out in such a strange way.
No.
It does because I feel claustrophobic underwater.
You are being pressed in on from all sides.
From all sides.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what really gets me is sort of this idea of if I immediately want to get back to a space that I want to, the idea of being so far down that you have to do those like safety checks. I think that's what really spooks me because, but like in order to avoid getting the bends, you have to return to like a certain underwater altitude. I'm sure there's a term for that.
Like pressure or something.
Yeah. And like wait, for 10 minutes.
But that's if you're like deep down.
That's if you're like deep. Well, I think if it's beyond like 30 meters, you have to do that.
Yeah, but that's still like 100 feet.
It's a lot.
That's pretty deep. I would say the majority of your scuba diving, if you're just the casual scuba diver, is going to be less than 100 feet deep.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. At that point, the light starts not being very clear. Dude, speaking of scuba diving, though, that is something I did in college, got scuba certified. And I have to tell you, I would recommend everyone listening try and get scuba certified because I have a feeling, or because it is one of the very few superpowers that we have just straight up invented.
Oh, like we can literally do it.
We can, you know what? If breathing underwater counts as a superpower, we have done it.
Right.
We can do.
Right.
I have to imagine that scuba diving and being like a pilot have got to be two of the most addictive things you can do because they are ways in which we have in a way given ourselves superpowers.
So do you think it's weird that like as much as we admire superheroes on the big screen and might like want to be a superhero, do you think it is at all strange that effectively there is ready access to materials that could allow you to be a superhero or to have a superpower and people don't do it?
Do you mean scuba diving?
Scuba diving, yeah. Like the idea there being like if there was like a way to fly, it would be interesting, like physically fly, like yourself,
right?
Or become invisible or something. Mm-hmm. It would be like, what if you had to take a training course on how to do it, and it was going to cost $300?
Yeah, everyone, right.
It's like, you would think, like, if you had the ability to become invisible, it'd be like, everybody would do that, right? And it's like, no. And it's like, the class is like 6 weeks long. You have to do like this checkout thing. The guy's got a huge mustache, and he wants me to drive in his truck to this quarry to go underwater where it seems like it's going to be cold. I slowly changed it back
into scuba diving.
Yeah.
I noticed.
I don't know if the invisibility instructor also takes you to a quarry where the water might be cold.
You'd think you'd have to go to like a really crowded place or something.
Ooh, possibly. Possibly.
Right.
Yeah, that would be so strange. What if being invisible also impaired your ability to breathe normally?
That'd be weird. Do you think? Okay, the question.
What if you could be invisible as long as you could hold your breath?
Oh,
How fun is that?
Ooh, now that's a interesting. There's a movie coming out called The Invisible Man right now. It looks so creepy, man.
It does.
That's completely
yeah.
unrelated, but I think everyone would take the invisibility and/or flight class.
Then why doesn't everybody take scuba diving?
Well, it is not readily available in your daily life. You're not typically underwater every day. You know what I mean? We're not even near a body of water.
I guess
now,
that's fair.
You know,
I guess
if
that's
it was
fair.
an above land, I mean, you could probably call this like driving. You know, a little bit. Everyone drives mostly.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too because like I feel like we say we're not like readily near water, but like we do live on a coast, or we live in a state where literally our entire coast is the ocean.
Right.
And so it's like I think if you lived in Kansas, it would be like, yeah, you're not really that close to water. But it's like we're in Virginia, which is a state that touches water, and it's like it still feels like it's really far away.
But that's still just because of how we draw certain, like, we draw boundaries. You know, you could be in West Virginia and be closer to the coast,
Oh,
than in some
true.
parts of Virginia.
True.
You know what I mean? It's just like how we draw the lines.
Right. That's fair.
I mean, if you were on like a, I don't know, 200-mile wide island and you lived in the dead center of it and you were 200 miles away from the coast, you wouldn't really be near water.
That's a good point.
You
That's a good point. But like the outside perception of everyone else who's like, wow, you live on an island?
Right.
You must do all the scuba
You must be at the beach all the time.
Right. It's like, no, I live in the middle of it.
Yeah, right. Although, I mean, would you? But yeah. So I would recommend scuba diving because it feels like having a superpower. I loved it. I wish I still did it. It's a weird one because once you're certified for life, which is cool. You don't have to get like recertified or anything, but it is definitely that should not be the case because it is totally a use it or lose it skill.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it feels like one of those things that would be like if 20 years from now you're like, well, I'm certified, so I'm gonna go. It'd be like,
yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable going scuba diving now, much less 20 years from now without any training in between.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So my experience with scuba diving so far is that I've gone through the entire scuba training program all the way up until you're supposed to do the checkout dives.
Yeah.
Which I have not done.
Wow.
But it was because the largest aquarium that I have in my service route, I actually had to scuba dive in order to clean, which was an interesting experience because I was like scuba certified enough to do it, but I was also always pretty terrified when I was in there.
But you were doing SCUBA, right?
Well, technically, because the tank is big enough to scuba dive in, but the tank would be rather like unwieldy.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm still using a tank like you would put on your back. Just instead of the hose going from your back to your face, it goes from the floor on the outside of the aquarium over the top to your face.
Right.
But otherwise, effectively, I mean, you're still breathing the same thing.
Right.
I don't know what the difference between SNUBA and SCUBA is.
SCUBA is the tank on your back. SNUBA is you have a line to the tank on the boat.
Then I was doing SNUBA.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But then you have like a big cord with you the whole time. But I guess you can move around freer. You know what was surprising to me about scuba diving? You have to wear a literal belt of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, which it looks, one, really cumbersome and so unadvanced compared to every other piece of equipment you're on, which is, this oxygen tank, you have all these readouts, and then also part of it is just weights.
Just lead weights.
Just lead weights.
Yeah.
Around your waist to counterbalance you.
Again, that's another one of those things that totally takes me back into that like claustrophobia, is this idea of like you are literally wearing something that's purpose is to sink you. Maybe I just have a fear of drowning.
Well, that's a pretty fair fear. Drowning's scary and easy.
Yeah. But no, I think really it also goes back when I was in college. I went on a study abroad, and when you're on a study abroad in Australia, I was in the Great Barrier Reef, and it was like, well, there's no way in the world I'm going to not scuba while I'm here, because for one, they're going to let me, and two, I'm never going to be here again, probably. So I got to go for it. So the respirator that I was using, I don't know if that's the right word. I feel like it's not. But the thing that I was breathing into, I feel like was like tuned in such a way to prevent you from being like an air hog. And so the whole time I was underwater, which was for like, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes, I felt like I was flexing my lungs.
Oh, interesting.
Because I was like having to breathe so hard to get air out of like my mask.
Yeah.
So I was like, every single breath, it was like,
That is interesting.
And yeah, and I mean, the whole time I was down there, you're like linked with everybody. So if you freak out, like you have to freak out in such a way that one, you can get yourself back to the surface of the water, and two, not like hurt anybody else in the process.
Right.
And to me, that was like, I don't know, I felt so locked in. Although I also get kind of spooked in mirror mazes as well. So, yeah.
You're just afraid of a lot of stuff.
Maybe.
But then you also, didn't you go bungee jumping out there? Like one of the biggest ones on Earth?
Yeah, bungee jumping didn't scare me at all. I did the Nevis is what it's called in New Zealand. I think it's 134 meters.
Oh, man. Do you have video of that?
I do have video of that.
I don't know if we can get that uploaded or something somewhere. Well, this is again why we need a Patreon.
I know, of course.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, we will link in the show notes a video of someone doing the Nevis. Whether or not it's me, it will depend on my ability to track it down. But bungee jumping is so strange because it's this thing that I feel like people frequently use as a descriptor of like a super adventurous risk-taking type thing you can do, but it's not really dangerous at all.
Well, I think the way a lot of people interpret the danger is as if you're trying to make the jump such that when the cord is at full stretch, you're really close to the ground.
Is that an objective for people?
I don't know, but sometimes I think that can be the perception.
Okay.
That you're trying to jump and just barely not hit the ground. But that should not be what you're trying to do.
Yeah, no,
like, you should have no chance.
Right, no, and I didn't. I would bet that I was 60 meters above the ground still.
Right.
So like even if someone like that weighed more than I did it like and stretched the elastic cord more, you're still not even close to close.
Right.
But bungee jumping was a completely different experience because the way that we did it in this particular location, you're hooked at your feet.
Right.
So they sort of like tilt you back in this like dentist chair.
Oh boy.
And they like go through.
Getting the feet tingles just thinking about it.
I know, yeah. Like they put you back in this like dentist chair to like strap you into all the stuff. And you're on a cable car out in the middle of this like canyon. And they're just like blasting pump up music, which is totally working. It's like full volume and you're like, yeah, this is going to be great. But the thing that really, again, like so strangely, it wasn't the jumping off of like the little platform. It was walking out to the platform. They have this like moment where you can like take a picture, giving a thumbs up, and doing that with your ankles tied together for one is just like, if I fall, then all of a sudden it feels very different from my intentional jump off of like either way, I'm about to purposefully jump off.
Right.
But feeling like it happened accidentally would be a million times scarier to me than the actual act of like the swan dive that you do off the end of it. But the other thing about being attached to your ankle is that they basically, you jump off and then just like reel you back up.
Yeah.
Like there's not like some really sophisticated method of like getting you back in other than like, well, pull the rope back up.
Right, of course. Like what else are you gonna do?
And so when you're doing that though, and when you're attached to your feet, the thing they explain to you is that you jump off, and I sort of did like a swan dive. So I like jumped off like arms out, like, it was really cool. But then as you bounce up, so you go like full elastic all the way to the bottom, and then as it's bouncing back up, you have this moment where you have to like reach up to your ankles and basically like pull a ripcord.
Right.
And the ripcord is supposed to then change from your like to where you're hanging from your ankles to your waist.
Right.
And so like they're like, if you don't get it on your first try it again on your second, because that's the only other time you're gonna have like enough zero gravity.
Zero gravity, yeah.
To let it go. And they were like, and if you don't get that, good luck, because you're gonna have to stare at the ground for like the whole 90-second period of time that we're like spooling you back up. And I'm like, that scared me. I was like, I don't want to be hanging upside down in the middle of a canyon.
Yeah.
Just staring at,
at death.
At death.
We talk about death a lot on this spot.
I don't know why that happens, but it is.
Dude, speaking of which, you mentioned that water ski potential incident. Somebody on the Reddit posted a video of a guy where this very nearly happened to them, and they're like holding onto a bar on the side of the boat, and just the handle, which they've abandoned, whips up from behind them and like goes around their head, and it like he like is able to pull it off successfully and nothing bad happens, but it is like
oh yeah, he is I think what they call barefooting in the this video. And so it's basically like when you're out beside the boat, you're like holding onto a rod and you're literally just like, you're just riding on your feet, which I think usually means you're going like
real fast.
Yeah, real fast. 50 miles an hour, I think, minimum, if not faster.
Yeah.
Which means if that had popped off, it's like
if you'd let go.
Yeah. If you'd like,
oh man, don't even think about it.
You don't even think about it. And one way or another, when you're holding on that tight, he would have had to have taken one hand off to remove the thing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, it must have been on pure adrenaline right there.
Oh, I hate that you even brought it up.
All right, well, let's switch into a much more, a much calmer atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
Let's bring it down.
Hey.
So, we've talked before on the pop about how we feel about board games.
We have.
Yeah. So, for Christmas, though, you got me a board game.
I did.
Which came with a coupon.
Dude, but right though, like, you know, people give coupons as gifts, like, you know, I'll make you dinner. I'll give you a back rub. I was like, man, a board game night?
Yeah.
That's like, you can't put a price tag on that.
No. I'm not paying you to come play games with me. No, but so the game you got for me was called Photosynthesis.
Yep.
And I believe the reason you got it was because the game was described as being the most beautiful game.
Yeah, well, so this was like Ben Carlin research into. So this is like my research that I would put into what game do you buy if you effectively know nothing about games.
Right.
And so I don't know what my exact keyword searches or anything were, but like as I was like digging through all these like different layers of games that people highly recommended, some of them you just already owned, which was kind of like, okay, well, you know, there's that. But I ultimately landed on this game, and you're exactly right, because people said that like as you're playing it, the physical board game itself is just beautiful, and I was like, how cool is that?
Yeah, I would say, even as you were describing it to me, I was like, I feel like that's being a little oversold, but I will say that if anyone wants to purchase the game Photosynthesis, it is indeed a very beautiful game in front of you. But basically, the point of the game is you are a particular species of tree and
selling it hard.
I know. It's so hard to describe how board games work. Sometimes it sounds really lame, but then once you get going, it's really fun. But so you represent a certain variety of tree. I was the orange trees. I think Ben was the blue trees.
I was the blue trees.
Yeah.
Team blue trees.
Yeah, team blue trees. It wasn't just like, I don't know. And the point is you were trying to spread your seeds and grow as many of your kind of tree in the forest as possible.
Yep.
And it gets fairly cutthroat. I mean, which doesn't sound like trees could be very cutthroat, but you have this sun that circles the board and allows you to literally throw shade at your opponent's trees so they can't grow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And man, I mean, so I think Beth ultimately won, so in case anyone's wondering. But what was your experience playing the game?
Oh man, okay. So this, like, whenever I play any of these games, it's kind of like I'm observing the strategies that other people are trying, and it's hard to describe a really cool way. Like, I don't know, this particular game, because it's trees, but you have to see it. I think that as the game started going on, and as I started watching all of the different kinds of strategies that you could be doing, it was like slightly overwhelming.
It's for such a basic concept, it did seem a little overwhelming for the number of ways you might approach the game, because you could certainly just try and go big tree early. You could try and play a very aggressive, I'm not really worried about my trees, I'm just going to throw as much shade at my opponents as possible.
Right.
And hope I come out on top. You could play for, I'm not really worried, like the way the sun travels around the board, it takes like 6 turns. But you could play it so that I'm trying to cash in big when the sun is here. And the rest of the turns, whatever I get. But
right, exactly, yeah. So it's like there's a bit of patience involved with it. There's a certain amount of like, you know, and that's basically what my strategy turned into. Was I was buying like perimeter pieces,
right?
And so it was kind of like 3 phases of the sun gave me like a full cash stock, but
right.
The perimeter pieces are also the cheapest and therefore yield the fewest points,
right?
And so yeah, as I'm watching this all go down, it was really, I feel like my mind was able to recognize that if I was smart enough to like run all the numbers in my head, that I would be able to like implement a good strategy. And literally, I think there was one round where I sat sat there with like my hands like on both of my temples, and I was just like, do the math, Ben, do the math. Okay, if it goes to here, then this is going to be this. And it was like, I like could not hold all of the information in my head. What I needed was like a notebook.
Right.
So that I could like start like writing stuff down. So that I could have all the stuff in there. I feel like I'm making it sound like the game was really hard to play. It was very easy to play.
Right. It was very easy to play. It was very easy to just get going and very nice to look at while you were waiting for your turn.
Right.
And it went by fairly quickly. But yeah, there was a lot of scenarios and a lot of, if you really paid attention and were trying to like have a fully formulated strategy and you hadn't played before, it might have been difficult to come up with what to do.
Yes. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Yeah. So no. Without going into too much detail about a game probably most listeners have never heard of before, I thought it was really cool. It's like a game that I think is cool also because after we played the first round, if we were to have played a second round of it right then, I feel like every single person at the table would have had 10 times the strategy we had in the first round.
Yes.
Like, it's because
so.
once you get the mechanics of the game and once everything starts rolling, it's like, oh, I know what I would do differently in the future. But I also know that everyone else would be doing things differently.
Right.
And therefore, my newfound strategy may have fallen apart.
Right. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
But ultimately, neither of us won. Did you feel like it was, like, how did you feel about the competitiveness? Was that, like, weighing on you? Were you really trying to win?
I know that, I know that I wanted to win, and I think that my mind always wants there to be this, like, unexpected, like, just, you're, like, a savant at something. You know, and it's like, wow, he's just good at this. Like, and I think I've probably seen too many movies where, like, the character is just, like, unreasonably good, like, so quickly.
Right.
Like Harry being, like, the Seeker in his first year.
Right.
It's like I want to be the Seeker. I want it to just be like I got on the broomstick for the first time.
And I got it.
And I could catch the Remember-All out of the air.
Yeah.
You know, at like a 30-mile-an-hour dive, one-handed.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to happen.
So it turns out
that did not happen. I came in
growing
third.
cardboard trees was not your savant moment.
It was not my savant moment. But I think that's like, it's like I need this ratio of being invested enough in the game to where I am willing to take the time to become good at it. And then also being able to know that there's a sustainable method of then being able to like implement my interests.
Yeah.
And I think that right there is something that happens to me all the time. Like, I don't like any scenarios where I don't have constant and ready access to do the thing that I want to do as much as I am able to do it. And that usually leads to me doing really dumb projects that are like very pie in the sky and then ultimately like a lesser version of what I want it to be.
You know what you're describing then, I think, is the kind of game you would like and be able to get invested in is like a trading card game.
Where like you could always go and like play somebody else.
Right, you could always go and play someone else and you could implement a strategy over and over and be sure that it would win against other people. And I mean, there's also like the fun of, I know you're like a collector person anyway.
I am.
So that would be, I feel like you'd have a lot of fun with that. And the trading, yeah. You know what? The more I'm thinking about it, I don't know how you're not into a trading card game. Maybe, in fact, except that I do. And maybe it's the knowledge that you're too susceptible to it. Maybe that's what holds you back.
That is, oh my gosh. I mean, like, I feel like a hot button political topic right now is like, how do you feel about like the legalization of like marijuana and stuff like that? Oh boy.
Oh boy.
One of the things about me is like I've never really dabbled, but that in the strangest of ways was because I feel like people always have their reasons, you know, for not doing anything, which is usually much more sound reasons. My reason for never really like attempting to get into marijuana use was because of my fear and entrepreneurial spirit that somehow, some way, if I got into it and how there's all these different strands and stuff like that, it'd be like, I would end up selling it. Like
that's your fear. You'd have fear of like becoming like a burnout who smokes a lot of pot. You would fear becoming a drug dealer.
Exactly. That is like quite literally my fear. It's like I think my mind would be like, it's such an expensive thing, but like how could I have more of it at a lower rate that I could then be able to then sell to others to provide this helpful service as a contributing member of my society. It's the worst thought.
Ben, I'm gonna order you a box of Pokemon trading cards, and we're just gonna open them one day.
We're just gonna open them. I do love opening blister packs.
Oh, it's so fun.
I love holographics.
Dude, people say they have certain smells that will bring them back. pack and stuff, the smell of opening like a booster pack of trading cards is one of those things that it's such a unique smell.
Oh, it is.
Which if it ever cropped up anywhere else, I'd be like, oh no. Someone,
so someone open? Did someone just open a new pack of 11 cards?
Yeah, did someone just open a new pack?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what was Pokemon Generation 1? Is that what it was?
This is the base set. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the base set of Pokemon cards is actually something that I have looked up on so many occasions because I really wanted to find on eBay like a case. Because when I was a kid, it was like I always imagined that like when I was older, when I had money, the thing that I would go and do, would just be like to go and buy as many of them as I wanted.
Why not?
Nobody could stop me.
Exactly.
But like those are the only packs of cards that I can care about. Like the ones that had like Bulbasaur. No, it was Venusaur?
Yeah.
And Charizard.
Yes.
And Blastoise.
Correct.
And they were like blue foily packs that looked like they had been like stamped on the ends and stuff. And those were the ones that I wanted. And so I've like looked on eBay on so many occasions. Oh, I'm looking at them right now and it brings me back. And so I was like, yeah, I'll just go on eBay and I'll buy like cases of them.
Right.
Like what hobby shops used to buy. They're so expensive. It's like $70 for a single pack of these cards.
Well, because at this point, for an original unopened pack to exist, it's 24 years past its release date.
Right.
Like there's a very limited number of unopened packs in the world.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing is that like you're like in every year that goes by, there are fewer because I'm looking right now at people like with entire cases and they're like, I'm going to open them all up today. And it's like, man, how did you get $30,000 to buy all those things?
Yeah. So I think probably what we're looking at is we're going to need to know somebody who's just willing to part with them. So, hey, little colonels, if you own an unopened pack of Pokemon cards from the base set and you feel like parting with it, boy, it would sure make Ben's day to open that up.
It would sure make my day because I would not at all be opposed to attempting to get a complete set of holographics from the base set, like all of the rare ones, especially the Charizard. Man, why was it so popular? Like why, or was it actually more rare?
No, that's one of those weird myths that has since been like debunked. Like as a kid, it felt like Charizard was the rarest one. I think it was equally as rare as Blastoise and Venusaur. None of which I think we ever had, despite you and me and Ty all collecting these cards and opening who knows how many packs, but no one ever owned a Charizard at our house. Not important. But for whatever reason, because of Charizard's popularity or else just because of his perceived rareness, I remember the dollar value when we were kids was always $120. That's what it's worth.
It was like $1 per HP.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
something like that.
So glorious though.
Charizard, not even like competitively good.
Right.
Either.
So I'm looking at it right now. Literally, it's right now just for an unopened booster pack with unknown cards inside. It is $119.99.
That's outrageous.
It is so much.
That's as much as one Charizard was worth back in the day.
Yes, exactly. I could trade one Charizard for a booster pack, which probably has an Alakazam inside.
Yeah, which probably doesn't have a Charizard in it.
Right. Exactly. It's worth more unopened than it is opened, but I would have to open it.
Yeah, you'd have to know. You'd ruin that. You'd take one more out of the world, increasing the value of all the others.
Exactly. So maybe if we ever do start a Patreon, we'll just call it our booster pack fund.
Oh, there we go.
And that's its entire function.
That's
Ben trying to collect a full pack.
Dude, it's so funny that we're talking about Pokemon cards because there is like this part of me that when we were kids, I think a lot of people experienced this with specifically Pokemon cards, that the act of collecting them was a really big fun thing that everyone I knew did.
Yes.
But nobody played the game.
Nobody played the game.
At all.
Yep.
Right. So some people had the Game Boy game for the Pokemon trading card game, and those people learned how to play the game. But this was like not a high enough percentage of people who actually collected the cards. So I think we collected them and we were right in there. We never played, but part of me always feels like we missed out on something. Like to this day, like I want to be into competitive Pokemon cards.
Jay, do you want to be the very best?
No, don't even have to be the very best. I just want to be. I want to do it.
That no one ever was. Oh my gosh! All right. Well, maybe eventually I will play the Pokemon base card set with you because I don't know who the rest of the Pokemon are.
I think you'll find it doesn't matter.
Maybe not.
Maybe that would make you better. It's like fantasy football where you can just play the numbers. You can just like read the effects and be like, well, this just makes sense. Whereas I'd be like, oh man, I sure do like this Pokemon. I want to put him in my deck because I sure do like him.
Yeah. No, I like the fantasy football analogy because fantasy football is one of those things where like I'll ask people to play every year and they're like, I'm not really into football. It's like, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't matter.
Are you good at looking at spreadsheets? Does that sound fun to you?
Because it does to me.
Because that's how you're actually good at fantasy sports.
Exactly.
Which is to say, I'm not.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I like that plan. Hey, do you remember what I sold my Pokemon cards and bought when I was a kid? This was like 11-year-old Ben wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, maybe wheeling and dealing.
Because
I'm pretty sure you bought a Razor scooter.
I did indeed. I bought a Razor scooter.
Oh, man.
Oh, it was so glorious too. I went to Happy's Flea Market.
Out of commission now.
I had this like red vinyl notebook that had all my Pokemon cards in it, like in the little sleeves. It had like a button clasp. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a Charizard.
Wow.
And I got $75.
Not bad.
For my entire card collection.
Crazy.
Which I'm sure mom and dad were like, I swear, that's like so many dollars worth of booster packs. I was calling them blister packs before, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Booster packs?
Yeah.
Is the correct terminology?
I think a blister pack is like what a Hot Wheels car comes in.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. We also collected those as kids.
I think that's who you sold the Pokemon cards to, was the Hot Wheels guy at Happy's Flea Market.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Jason. That was his name.
That was,
yeah.
Yeah. Craziness. Man, I've been getting, speaking of Hot Wheels, we have been playing a lot of Hot Wheels at my house.
Sure.
Yeah, Luke is getting into it.
It runs in his blood.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what I was like, I'm not sure if I'm forcing this on him, but he seems to be having fun, and there's a lot of accessories I can buy, so. And I'm like, am I buying them for me or him? I don't know. But
is there any sense of accessorizing your child? Like where it's like they get into something and it's like, this is kind of cool.
yes.
It's like, can I give him armor and boots and gloves and a belt and 2 rings, an amulet?
You started playing Diablo 2 again.
I sure did.
Yeah.
I sure did. Yes. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dead ringer. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead though. You were saying.
Oh no. So yeah, this week. So one of the things sometimes we'll set the track up down the stairs so we can send it down. But the bottom of the stairs, there's not like a hallway. It goes straight around the corner.
Right.
So the track curves immediately onto its side. So very few cars can make the turn.
Ooh, but some can.
Some can. That's sort of. But you can't see. And you can't see around the kern. So you don't know until you get down there. And Luke just like watching them go down. He's not concerned. But like what makes it fun for me is like figuring out which cars are good enough to make the turn.
Fascinating.
But so now I'm looking online. I'm like, maybe I can are there just Hot Wheel turns I can buy? Like, because you can just buy like, and the answer is yes.
Oh boy.
You can buy a track that just, the point of it is to turn, not to go straight.
So would you ever go so far, going down your stairs, it's probably like 14 stairs?
So, sure, maybe.
Yeah,
Why not?
we'll throw a number out there. Would you ever go so far as to like build a small shelf that runs the full length of the stairs going down and having like a track attached to it, and then having like the ability to put a car on the track and have it do like a really unbelievable maneuver?
I don't know if I need to build the shell.
Like literally make it part of the infrastructure of your home is what I'm thinking.
But make the track part of the infrastructure.
Yeah, so it's like, do you remember growing up, our great uncle Bill had like a train set that would like go from like room to room?
Yeah, and he like cut out the like an archway adjacent to the doorway, and the
train could go through it.
Through the wall.
Which was amazing.
It was amazing.
Like the best thing that could have happened.
I think about their house a lot for only having been there like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, they had a really cool house.
A really cool house.
It was like a log cabin that had like did it have like a strange number of like taxidermied animals inside of it?
It might have, yeah. I don't know.
Like a fox eating a squirrel maybe or something.
Boy, it could have. I remember the support beams in the basement were wrapped in rope. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Man, what a thing.
Yeah. Mostly what I wanted to do there was play Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo because we didn't have that.
We didn't. That's
Somehow.
I know.
We owned a Super Nintendo and didn't own Mario Kart, which feels like a crime.
It does. Mom. Why is it mom's fault?
Because we didn't have money to buy video games.
We could have sold our Pokemon cards.
Well, yeah, someone bought a scooter, so.
We needed the scooter. Then I'm pretty sure you just got a scooter. How did you get a scooter?
Christmas.
Yeah. You waited.
Yeah.
You sly dog.
Yeah, but yours had a wheelie bar, but mine had shocks, so.
Good point.
You know how Razor scooters needed shocks, right?
Oh yeah, it really took a lot of the vibration out of the road.
That's right.
No, I actually added the wheelie bar aftermarket along with my. I had special wheels that lit up when you rolled.
Didn't you have like custom grip tape too?
I did custom grip tape too. Instead of like just being the Razor logo in the middle, it took up the whole base.
Wow.
I know. Wow. I changed the handle grips from red to green, my favorite color, because I didn't have green the day that we were buying them.
Man.
But I did later find green grips somewhere else. Yeah, that was as a kid. I was basically like, it pimp my ride, but like for a scooter.
Right, like pimp my scooter.
Exactly. Do you remember though? Like, okay, so this was like how cool we were. Like, we would go to the skate park.
You don't have to tell me, Ben.
I was there.
I was there.
Okay, so we would go to the skate park as kids because we were really into
an embarrassing story.
We were really into the Extremely Goofy movie.
I mean, like, extreme sports were just like extremely trendy when we were a kid, like skateboarding and
especially thanks
rollerblading.
to the Extremely Goofy movie.
Yeah.
Which is all about like Max going to college and the X Games. And so at that point in time, I was like, what I really wanted was a skateboard.
Yeah.
And so eventually I got a really like inexpensive one that wasn't good. I spent half the day trying to drop in on a half pipe.
Right.
Eventually did it, fell down, and then spent the rest of the day on my scooter. But we were like those kids at the skate park.
Right.
That were on like our Razor scooters.
Right.
And all we were really doing was like going over ramps. We
Right.
weren't like doing any cool tricks or
Yeah.
anything worthwhile.
Right.
Yeah.
We were so cool.
We were really cool.
Yeah. I don't like to think about it.
Really? Tell me more about why you don't like to think about it.
Oh man, you're right. Like, it doesn't, like, in the moment we were having fun and that's all that really matters. But when I look back, I'm like, if I were to go to the skate park and just observe, it would seem like, you'd have all the kids who could actually do stuff on their skateboards and rollerblades and the half pipe. And then you'd also have those kids who were on the Razor scooters.
With like their knee pads that are the size of turtles.
I mean, you should wear protective gear, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I know, but we were like knobbly little kids with huge knee pads.
Yeah.
But so do you think Dad was aware of the fact that we were not the cool kids at the skate park?
Man, I don't know. Like, was it painful for him to sit there and watch us?
Because he did have a video camera, which does add to the coolness of our particular endeavor.
There's nothing like being at the skate park with your dad on your Razor scooter while he films it for posterity.
How would you feel if, as your three boys grew up, if that was their ambition as kids, 8-9-year-old kids to be the scooter kids at the skate park?
Let me tell you, Ben, about modern day kids scooters.
Yeah.
It's that they're not like Razor scooters.
Why are they not like Razor scooters?
Because they have motors. Like, I witnessed in my neighborhood children on the scooters, and there was no scooter leg. They were just
no scooter leg.
No scooter leg.
Goodness.
Yeah, they were just zipping around. So I think we've gone past that.
So you don't think that you'll have scooter kids?
I'm not saying we won't have scooter kids. I'll just say they'll probably have motors. They might have. I would get my kids like electric skateboards.
E-skateboards.
You say that like we don't own them.
We do have 2 attached to our wall in our office. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that. But you didn't really answer my question.
Yeah.
Would you have been ashamed of us? Is what I'm really getting at.
No, I don't think so.
No?
Okay. I don't think you could be too ashamed of your kids. That's the wrong approach, hopefully.
Because after all, we were so cool that we wanted to go to the skate park.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That must be, it was just like an hour away.
It's not that far now.
Yeah.
Now we live close to it.
Yeah, that's true. Same spot. Still there.
It's still there. Yeah. Wasena Skate Park.
I don't feel like it's nearly as popular as it once was.
It doesn't seem like it. Maybe the kids these days didn't grow up with the Extremely Goofy movie the same way that we did.
Yeah. Or like Rocket Power or all those Disney movies.
You're right. Okay. It was more of a thing when we were kids, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Why is that? Was it just Tony Hawk and his Pro Skater 2?
I think it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. That was totally it. That got so many people. I think the X Games were new when we were kids too.
Interesting.
You know, like they had just started.
So is that like all of a sudden people were like, yeah, skateboarding's a sport now, and like the elders may have been like, that's not a sport,
right?
How do you think that correlates with gaming, as gaming has become more of like a pro sport?
Is gaming the modern day extreme sport?
Is it? I think it's a fair question.
I think so, because that was like extreme sports. This is like esports, and it's like extremely popular in a way that older generations don't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that sounds exactly right. What's next? What will the kids who grew up with esports be like? Well, I don't even understand. Why this isn't a sport? Of course, video gaming is a sport.
Of course.
Of course, skateboarding is a sport. I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you ever think people were like that about soccer or basketball? They were like, excuse me, running in a straight line is a sport. Putting a ball through a hoop, that's not a sport.
That's a game.
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like sure enough that must have been the case at some point in time. But it feels like basketball and baseball and football date back so far in history. Of course, in different like shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Like it's come a long way.
For sure.
You know, helmets
But not
and stuff.
that far. Like, I don't think football is more than 100 years old.
Maybe not.
You know?
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Okay, Ben, so bring me up to speed on something.
Lay it on me.
You mentioned earlier that you had started playing Diablo 2 again.
Sure did.
How did this happen?
Well, actually, Jay, I need to clarify. I'm playing Diablo 2 literally right now.
Oh, are you?
As we speak.
Right now.
The game is
going.
The game is going.
Oh, man.
I have to tell you that my fascination with Diablo 2 has evolved in such a strange way. It's such an old game.
Yeah.
Very few people play. I think most of the people on there are also what I am, which is a bot.
Right.
So the way that I play Diablo 2 is like incredibly passively. Like I realistically am only interacting with the keyboard and mouse for maybe like 20 to 30 minutes a day.
Right. So this is the question for me is, so what your bot is doing is going out on its own, defeating villains and collecting items that you have pre-specified.
Yes.
To make the character better at doing this exact thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So that eventually you can get on and defeat stuff.
Basically, yeah. So it's a strange thing, and I don't know where my fascination comes from with it. Like it's kind of one of those things where I can like tug on my interest in this, get to the end of the rope, and still not understand why I care. It's like I can like psychologically get myself to the point where I can fully understand where the source material for this interest came from, and be like, oh, the only reason I really thought that it was important as a kid is because I perceived that you thought it was important as a kid, and it was like being good at it meant you thought you would think I was cool. And it's kind of like, that was my perception of how I thought that it would work and why it mattered to me. And it was like, okay, well, I'm going to play all the time because if Jay wakes up tomorrow morning and comes downstairs and I pulled an all-nighter and I have a couple of lightsabers to show for it, man.
It's pretty impressive.
I'm going to have so many cool points and it's going to change the entire trajectory of my life.
Wow.
I know. And so the way that I literally play the game now is I play it through all the way once to get a character up to a high enough level to where I can like start him as a bot.
Right.
And what I mean by that is like literally you go through and you can like use like code and have your character like start up, create a game, and run through a variety of bosses. And he knows like which items are the best items to pick up. And he'll just go out there. And I mean, he's way better at the game than I am.
Right.
Because the bot can go literally anywhere in exactly the right time and is as maximally efficient as humanly possible.
Right.
Not even humanly possible, as computerly possible.
Right.
But so the really fun thing for me though is that like, you know, you start out and the quality of the goods you find on a daily basis is entirely dependent on your level of magic find.
Sure.
And so like when you start, your gear might have like low magic find. And so you're not finding as many things. But then as you find things that have better magic find, your magic find increases, which means like over the course of a day, it's literally like the way that I interact with the game is like, I found 8 things today.
Right.
You know, but it's like those 8 things maybe will allow me to find like 10 things tomorrow.
But to what end? What are you aiming for? When will you like?
When will I stop?
When are you done? Do you have like things specifically like, okay, this is perfect, I have achieved my goal?
Okay, so the thing that I've literally never
Help me understand.
The thing that I've literally never been able to do with the game is fully outfit every single character and have all of them over level 90. And
so that's your goal.
So that's my goal.
You want 7 perfect characters.
7 perfect characters that can all be run as a bot.
But you don't want to actually play with them.
No.
You just want to have built them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Because and that will bring you joy.
Probably. For a while.
Okay.
No, I think what I always hope will happen is that I can get really good at it, and then I'll have all this stuff, and then I'll convince other people to play with me, and they'll be like, man, I really wish I had a Heart of the Oak flail. And I'd be like, I have one. Let me hook you up. And then they'll feel the excitement that I felt when somebody gave me a Heart of the Oak flail.
You know what? I think I can relate with this because this is often how I felt about playing Mario Kart.
Okay.
I was like, oh yeah, I'll just get super good at this. And then when I play with other people, they'll be like, man, he's really good at this.
Yeah.
But the effect was never quite what I was hoping for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the problem is that I became so much better than everyone playing it that it was not fun to play with me.
Hashtag humble brag.
No, just bragging.
Just bragging.
This is one of the things I feel confident about bragging about is Mario Kart.
Oh, for sure. This is one of those things. It's like ping pong. Everybody thinks they're good at ping pong, and then when you play someone who's actually good at ping pong, it's like, ooh.
Ooh, I am not good at ping pong.
It turns out I can like rally a few times.
Look, I guarantee you, everyone listening is like, no, but I actually am pretty good at ping
right.
pong.
Everybody thinks
Yeah.
they're the exception.
Yeah, but I am good.
Right, yeah. And I feel like that's you with Mario Kart. Like, I feel like we've met so many people and like, whatever, I'll take you at Mario Kart. And I'm like, dude, you're not going to take him at Mario Kart. I don't care who you are not as good as he is at Mario Kart. And sure enough, I don't think that we have ever invited somebody into our world that I felt like challenged you at Mario Kart at all.
Well, you know,
has there ever been
a lot of hours?
Has there ever been a worthy foe?
I mean, look, if you play like online and stuff, certainly you'll find other really good people. But in person, I don't think I've really played against many people. And like the thing about Mario Kart is, as good as you are, there is always a slight element of luck, and you can mitigate as much luck as you want, and that'll win you a lot of rounds. But there, every now and then, even if you're great, you can lose to anything.
Oh, sure. I mean, like back in the day on our gaming channel when we used to play all the time, it's not like I never won.
Yeah,
it just was. Like, I probably won 1 in 30 races.
Right.
So it was like, we played enough to where you could see it happen reasonably regularly, but like, it definitely was not the common thread. Like, I don't think anybody would watch and be like, oh yeah, Ben's got this.
Right.
He's in it. And so that, I think it's almost like bowling, where like really good bowlers can roll a strike time after time after time after
Ben,
time.
I'm really good at bowling.
You're not
really good at bowling, no.
I do own bowling shoes.
You do?
I do.
This is one of your things. You got slightly into it.
I got slightly into it, and so I bought me an Alley bowling shoes, so we have them. But like really good bowlers, I think that what I have learned is that you're never playing one game or even a single frame of bowling. Like you can't represent how good you are. It's like what you're supposed to do is roll strikes 3 games in a row. Like that is being good at bowling.
Right.
I believe is what I have been told. Like that is what the pros do. But the pros can play a perfect game of bowling, a round of bowling. What is bowling?
I believe it's called a match.
A match?
No, that's not it at all.
A battle royale.
Boy, more people. Yeah, bowling battle royale.
What
would that look like? That should be a thing.
That should be a thing. Is it like dodgeball but with bowling balls? Because that seems deadly.
It does. I don't think that's it. I don't think you're trying to hit people with bowling balls, but it does seem like there must be a way to do battle royale bowling where you could like knock over other people's pins or something.
Ooh.
Or you're all aiming at the same man, I don't know. There's a way to do this.
There's got to be something there.
All right, battle royale bowling. That's our new Steam project.
It's our new $1 million idea. It's like going to places where you can like throw axes.
Yeah.
It's like that's what we come up with is
it's the next Topgolf.
Topgolf, like where you can go and like hit golf balls over like a parking lot. Like who doesn't want to do that?
Exactly. People, you're right. This is exactly what it's going to be because forever driving ranges have existed. Yeah, and that's all Topgolf is.
Right, but Topgolf is somehow better.
They've made it a social experience that's fun, and not that driving ranges aren't fun, but they've made it like a game. They've made driving ranges a game, and bowling is already a game, and golf is already a game. But we're gonna make battle royale bowling. It's a new game.
Yeah, bring your friends.
Bring your friends.
Yeah,
you know, it's not just roll a ball and a straight line at some pins. You know.
Okay, so I kind of love that idea though. It's almost like dodgeball, but with bowling balls, except you're not throwing the balls at each other. Obviously, you're throwing them at the opponent's pins on their side, and it's like a bit of a race to see how accurately you can like knock down the pins on the other side. Right?
There's something.
Do you get it?
I think so. Yeah.
This almost reminds me. I feel like I went to a summer camp once upon a time where it was almost this exact premise, and you played like crab soccer,
right?
And it, like you had like a soccer ball, and there were like 10 pins lined up across like a basketball court, and you were playing long ways,
right?
And the goal was to like scoot around and on like crab walk style and kick the ball into the pins, and first team to knock over all of the other team's pins wins. But like once there's only one pin left, everybody kind of guards that one pin.
Yeah.
So it gets real competitive at some point.
At some point to get that last pin.
Right, because eventually everybody's like focused on protecting just that one.
Yeah. Okay. Battle Royale bowling. It's coming.
You
heard it here first.
Coming to a Battle Royale theater near you.
Oh yeah. Theater seating.
Yeah, maybe that's what we call the arena, is the theater.
The theater.
Because it's like you could go as a spectator or as a player.
Right.
Yeah. Like modern day Gladiator, basically.
Yeah. It feels like if it's Battle Royale, it has to be like last man standing. So yeah, I think it'd be more about knocking down opponent pins and protecting your own.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So you're like rolling across a court at their pins.
Yeah.
So like you stand slightly above the pins, and there's like ramps that you can roll down or something. I'm trying to think of
There's got to be a way like for you to not be in danger of being hit with the balls.
Of course, yeah. You're not going to be hit by a ball.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to be hit by a ball.
The balls are on the court,
Yeah.
But like if you can stand above the arena and your pins are below you, you could almost have like people who are defenders.
Ooh.
You know, where their job is to like roll balls to avoid balls hitting your pins.
Oh, this is great. We're inventing a new sport on the fly.
On the fly.
Okay. All right. Who do we talk to about getting Battle Royale bowling off the ground?
Off the ground and possibly
into the
trademarked. into the theater.
Oh boy.
Goodness gracious. Oh my gosh. Well, I think we're just about out of time. What all did we talk about today that people can give me some quality feedback on?
Oh man. What did we talk about? I feel like Pokemon cards for sure.
Yeah.
Talked about that for a while. Diablo 2, probably not.
I'm sure
No.
that people are like, Ben, I would join your clan.
Yeah.
Clan SCB.
Right.
And like we all get together. Maybe that's part of like our Patreon perks for the Patreon we don't have.
You need to play Diablo 2 with Ben.
With both of us.
Oh, with both of us.
Yeah, you can only have 8 players per game, but like we all go in and the quest for the secret cow level, and we're all clan SCB, and I'll outfit everybody with all of my bot findings.
With all your stuff. I'll tell you what, if we should ask people what they are, I don't know, what they're so good at that people don't like playing.
Ooh, okay. Okay, what are you so good at that people don't like playing with you?
Yeah.
Be sure to email me at popcornculturepod@gmail.com, or you can follow me at SCB_Ben on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. Or you can follow me on Twitter at John Kerlin, JONKERLIN, or on Instagram under the same tag.
You could basically change your handle to John Kernel.
Oh, that would be real confusing. Because if I was going to change it, it should just be to John Carlin.
Or Jay Carlin.
Or Jay Carlin.
AKA other host.
The other host on Reddit.
There you go. Otherwise, guys, until next time.
Pop, pop!